Sorry guys, 2 seconds. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Get the right window, eh? Let's try that again. So, guys, we are doing a live alien radio signal hunt tonight. We are searching the hydrogen line. That is the channel on the radio dial that scientists theorize that if ET is out there, this is where they'd put the message, hello, is anybody else out there? And as our dish sweeps across the night sky, we're going to be passing over various stars and their planets, hopefully passing over one with intelligent life that'll be sending us a signal. It is a bit of a right place, a right time sort of thing there. Not only do we have to have our dish pointed at an inhabited star, but also that they are sending us a signal. These are signals take a hell of a lot of energy and therefore are unlikely to be sent all of the time there. Krista, how are you doing? First in there as well. Paul is in as well, I see. How are we doing, team, tonight? I'm slightly under the weather, as you can probably hear. So I'm sure this is going to be the reverse of ASMR there. What's the snotty equivalent? But we'll see. We'll persevere. We'll push on there. How you doing, Harko? Thank you for the heart there. How are you doing tonight, guys? So yeah, we're listening out for potential alien radio signals tonight coming in from amongst the stars. Sadly, the sky isn't as clear as I would have liked, but hey-ho, at least we can do all this anyway. So yeah, that is what we are going to be doing tonight there. All good here, Chris. I'm glad you are as well. Yeah, we're all good. So I got a little bit of a cold, the man flu. What's up, Buck? Man flu, DJ. Man flu. It's wiped me out. So there's going to be some sort of snotty ASMR equivalent there. I just found the channel. Krista. Well, welcome aboard. Welcome to the dark side. We do something pretty much every night. So if it's cloudy, we're doing this, the alien radio signal hunt. If it's a clear sky, then we do a UFO, a UAP, a skywatch there, looking out for the strange things in the night sky. And we're based in Wiltshire in the UK, which is right in the heart of crop circle country and just down the road from Stonehenge. So we tend to see lots of strange stuff. And now the seasons are changing. It is very, very alive up there. So do join us on those nights as well. The skywatches are my favourite. Where in the world are you joining us from? And Zen is in as well there. I was about fiddling around. Oh, what'd you find, Harko? What did you find? You're doing your own hunt there as well. So we're listening, guys, tonight on a frequency called the hydrogen line. That is the channel on the radio dial that scientists theorize that if ET is out there, this is where they'd put the message, hello, is anybody else out there? They think this frequency, out of all of the different channels, the thousands, tens of thousands of frequencies that you can tune into to listen, why this one? Why even radio? Well, because basically this is a very useful frequency for radio astronomy there, because it's named after hydrogen, which naturally emits a radio signal on this frequency, and that is the most common element in the galaxy. It gives scientists a baseline. No matter where you are in the universe, this channel sounds the same. So it's a bit of a flag. It's the one consistent marker that there is across the dial, but also you're always going to be monitoring this frequency for those radio scientific purposes are there for learning about the universe, what's going on, and our place within it. So if you want a message to be heard, if you're purposely as a species sending out a message to deep space, not knowing if anybody is going to hear it there, this is the best place to have that signal detected. And it's where we've heard anomalous signals like the WOW signal and many, many more since there as well. Where is my cursor? Dar there, thank you for the heart as well. Where are you joining us from tonight? Appreciate that. And your F licensed ham radio amateur. We're not licensed to transmit. That's the next thing that we'll have to tackle here. Can we send our own very low-powered messages out there into deep space there? Apart from man flu, how's your week? It's been all right. It's one of those weeks where I get a little bit thrown out of routine. And I go, oh, what's going on? But it's okay. It's all good. How about yourself? Have you had a chance to have a play yet? Because you were one of our lucky competition winners there and got the kit to do this at home yourself there. And over in Ireland now, Dar. That's Dara, sorry, I should say it properly. Excuse the cold as well. So Ireland is very active for the phenomena. I thought when we started doing these Skywatch streams that we would have a sort of a roughly equal spread. Maybe the UK or England, to be precise, being the larger population mass, maybe they'll have some more sightings, but of an equal spread per person sort of thing. But no, Ireland, Wales and Scotland seem to be incredibly active for the phenomena. Very, very busy skies there. Now, is that maybe that, it's a little bit more rural in a lot of those places, so people less light pollution, people are more connected to those sorts of things? And I know personally, coming from just outside of London, you don't look up. You don't pay attention to the universe and what is going on. So maybe there's something like that at play. And there, Rachel, how are you doing tonight? Thank you for the shares there. Appreciate that, guys. The likes, the shares, tapping away. It does help us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves there. 1420 megahertz, that is it, Krista, totally. That is what we're listening on there, the hydrogen line. It's the start of what they call the watering hole. The idea, like a watering hole on the savannah there, where all of the animals come to one place to drink. This might be that for it as well there. Exactly, that is 100% it, Krista, there. And limited to about 100 watts on high frequency there. I wonder what if you drew a line around the Earth, like, at what point a sort of 100 watts of power would just be too quiet to be detected, where that signal could reach there as well. Not yet. Well, no worries, dude. No worries there. But hopefully things pick up for you there. How you doing, Rachel, as well there? Had to give Alan cowpole. Has he come down as well there, Mayor? I want some cowpole. They don't make anything that good, do they? For adults, sadly, there. Ooh, what was that there, Dara? And where are we? Just watched Bob Lazar's documentary. Yeah, we caught that last weekend. Was it last weekend? I don't know. Or is it this weekend? I've lost track of times now. But yeah, we saw it had been released. We're like, right, we've got to see that. We've been waiting a very, very long time. What did you think of it? I thought it was very, very cool. Rachel there. Us Scots will try not to take that too personally there. What, that you're rural? I mean, you've got a couple of cities, haven't you? But, I was have you ever actually looked up population sizes of countries and things? It actually blew my mind. Like, you look at how little people, or where we're all gathered. I mean, London is just ridiculous. Millions of people in London, then the outer London area. It's insane trying to get your head around all of that. But then, you look at some of the cities that you think are quite big and you go, that's about the size of Glastonbury Festival. It's insane, isn't it? And then you look at, like, say, for Scotland, example, is it 5 million people in Edinburgh, and then, 2 million in Glasgow, and then, like, 30 people throughout the Highlands. It's just insane, the distribution of people around there. It does make you think, is it that, people a bit more spread out there, able to pay a bit more attention to the landscape and maybe seeing some things there. Bigger population. Oh, the biggest. Not as individuals, as in, just the sheer amount of them there. And again, even in England, it is mostly in London. It's the pressure distribution there playing out, isn't it, there? With 20 watts, you make it to Japan. So, all right, that is quite fat for 20 watts there. So if you can go up to 100, how does that extend out? That's an interesting thought there. DJ as well, thank you for the heart there. Loving the stickers there as well, Maya. And job offer. Oh my God. Oh, DJ. No, that is because I was wondering. Jesus, that is stamped in the back as well. That is awful there, DJ. Not having much luck on that front of the second, are you? We're definitely wishing you the best progress with that as well there. And thank you, Maya. It is definitely a must tonight. Oh, excuse me, I'm sneezing all over the shop today. Well, I tell you, I've never been, it's not actually like the worst cold I've ever had. It's by no means too bad. But the sneezes, I've never been woken up by a sneeze before. Normally, you just sneeze during the day. No, all last night, I just get waking up halfway through a sneeze. And that is an experience, I can definitely say there. Poor Leanne. She's still laying there to herself. If I keep my distance, she says, I won't get what I've got. And that went all out of the window where I, in my sleep, just sneezed on her face. So I have to spread that one, spread the love there. How you doing, Kate, as well there? And it really is, when you look at the disproportionate, like this town that I'm in now, distribution, there we go, that's the word. This town is about 35,000 people, and where I was before, in technically a city of Southend, that was about 200,000 people. And it is just, 34,000 people is not a lot of people at all. I mean, I think Glastonbury Festival was about 180,000. It is insane. It's a very large event there. But, you think, that is massive. That's a city. Oh, people that just show up. And it's just down the road from us here. There. Alan says, sounds poorly. Blame Alan. Yes, blaming Alan fully for this one there. Loving the stickers there, Mayor. Off to sick bay. And my signals bounce a couple of times against the EF barrier there around the Earth, but it depends about time. So that is, again, well, I know about the ionosphere can play havoc, can't it, with signals. Our signals on Earth there will bounce around within the Earth, causing some very interesting effects there as well. So AM radio stations, if we're talking about the world of radio, which is what we're doing tonight, AM radio stations have to turn down their power of their transmitters by half as soon as it gets dark, because at night, part of this weird world of radio, the signal bounces off the ionosphere and can just go twice as far. So you end up hearing these things in different countries there. And in a lot of ways, I'm thankful I'm unable to work there. Roland goes mental when anyone else sneezes. I don't blame him there. Oh, the solar flux. Okay, I hadn't heard of that one, Harker. Tell us more on the solar flux there. Carl is in there. Sharing is caring. 100% Kate. I'm glad you understand that one. I mean, it's funny, like, my old man, he's got a few children as well, Kate. I think he's in a competition with you guys directly there, and his kids are always sick. And I'm like, I don't remember being this sick as a kid, but, like, is this a thing now? I suppose, the more kids you have, like, the higher the chance of them bringing something back from school is. Is that something? I suppose yours are quite the age distribution, though. Is that still an issue where everybody's always sick there? And DJ, thank you for feeding Alan.
Nom nom nom, thanks, guys.
I was just chucking a... Mind you, chuckling. You gotta have a laugh, haven't you, these days there. Don't use AM, yes. Oh, single-sided. What is it? S-sideband? Something like that? Oh, God, I don't know enough of it there. And what did Alan do with the vapor rub? He's been talking something about Tiger Balm today there. And he jumps out on us to make sure we are... That's a bit sweet. I've tried doing that with my pets, You've seen that on Instagram, haven't you, or whatever, pet owners will secretly film themselves pretending to pass out or something, and they'd see the pet's reaction, and, there's loads of pets that panic. Oh, my God, I hope my owner's fine. Mine, don't know, keep a rat's ass there. Hey, up there, I was sorry, a little late there. Hey, Philly. I'm all right, I'm just snotty. As I said, this is going to be the reverse of ASMR. It's going to be horrible sounds tonight, but we'll do it. I watched hilarious ones with ducks earlier. Oh, I do love ducks. They destroy the glass there. Grass. Where are we? Over on the tubes now there. And gee, wait there. How's the flu going? Thank you for the asking. I am snotty. I was hoping I'd start to feel a bit better today, but no. Nonetheless, it's a grim there. And Charlene from Down Under. How are you doing? Normally, I'd ask, where are you from there? But from Down Under, I think answers it. How are you doing tonight? Welcome aboard. And have you seen anything strange yourself there? Aliens send cool, what's that, psytrance beats. You wonder what alien music might look like. This is the thing, if we get a signal in, what is it going to be? Is it going to be an alien radio station there that's going to be transmitting their music? Is it going to be hello? What could it be? A recent paper did suggest, actually, that the first signals that we are most likely to detect are probably going to be a help, come save us, or something along those lines. Because, again, the energy required to send signals over these vast distances are so great that a civilization is unlikely to basically apportion the resources to do that without, when there's something better to do. But if they're at the end of their life, if they can see that their sun is going to expand into their planet and they can't escape there, maybe they'll be more inclined to spend those resources saying, hello, help, anybody, can you save us? Or a warning, maybe. There. Evening, Raf, how are you doing? And AM is double sideband with a carrier. I only use sideband with no carrier there. I know the words, Harko, but I don't know much about it all. the joys of radio yet to be discovered there. Maya coming in with the gifts up top there. I missed those. Sorry there. And GWAC and Adam there. And GWAC. Thank you.
Nom nom nom.
For feeding
guys.
Alan as well there. He doesn't deserve it tonight. He got me ill. Where are we? Let's have a look there. I'll shoot you a DM. Oh, excellent. I'll have a look out for that one, DJ. I am very bad at my messages lately, but I will try and keep an eye out there. A husband can drink cowpole like it's a treat. I think it's revolt. Cowpole is delicious. It's not like that. I don't know, was it antibiotics or whatever, like the pink and the yellow banana flavoured stuff they gave to kids. Oh, cowpole, though, that's nostalgic flavour right there. How are you doing, TikTok? How are you doing tonight, TikTok Raiders? There, and they will just use the wormholes to travel to get here. I'd have heard they go through black holes. Well, black holes are very interesting. You know, we've got a lot of theories, but we don't have a lot of concrete information on them, so they could well be. I mean, for one, you know, it gets around probably the infinite energy requirements to create and stabilize a wormhole. I mean, I'm a big fan of, not that I have any idea if this is more or less likely to be true, but big fan of, you know, that inside a black hole is another universe there. If what is the reverse of the Big Bang, it's, you know, the black hole on the other side, a Big Bang is, what do they call it, a white hole, the reverse of it there. The maths do point to some interesting things there, and thank you for the gifts, appreciate all of those, and then it all goes back into the stream, guys. How you doing, Adam, as well? Good to see you in. How was your weekend going there? And I did put some photos on your TikTok. Oh, you know what, I haven't checked. Somebody remind me to do that one, because I did want to check those ones out. I remember us talking about them the other day there. And would it be like a Torchwood, Children of the Earth? We are coming back there. Oh, I don't think I saw Torchwood. That was the Doctor Who spin-off one, wasn't it? Was it Captain Jack? No, you liked the banana, but you didn't like cowpole, Kate. The reverse there. What about the buttercup syrup there? I could speak that out of the bottle. You know what? I don't know. I don't know if I remember that one. Ooh. Clicking on buttons here, and guess there's two kind of people in the world. You know what my favourite there's two kinds of people is? Going to be quite vulgar now, and this one did do the rounds on the internet, so you probably heard this one before, but if you can catch someone and tell them this, it's hilarious to watch their face, right? There are two types of people in this world. There's the people that sit down to wipe their ass, and there's the people that stand up to wipe their ass, and neither realise the other exists. Like, when you find somebody on the opposite side of that equation, it is hilarious, because it's... And it is true. And there's the people that like cowpole, and there's the people that like the banana antibiotics there. I'd be terrified to go through it. Oh my god, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be the first. But the thing is, though, as far as we know, if our maths is correct there, we could send somebody in, and then we wouldn't know if it was okay, because you can't get information out of it there. Ones that like cowpole, ones that like the banana. That's it there. Oh, and eat raw garlic. Mate, I've never heard of that one there. I'm not saying anything. I mean, I struggled to get those words out, didn't I? Once you go through that event horizon, that's it for you there. And I had a nightmare once. Understandably so, because you're totally right there. The event horizon isn't like a physical barrier. It is just the line that we draw, kind of like with international boundaries in like on the sea. There you go. Like this around here, this is our bit. You keep the fish over there. You know, it's a dotted line. It's nothing physical, but that is the line, the threshold of which that you can versus can't escape, the gravitational bounding of the black hole itself there. There is so much mass, and therefore the gravity is so strong around a black hole there that not even light can escape, hence a black hole. So we can't actually observe a black hole directly because there is no light coming from, as how our eyes work, it's the photons bounce off of things. But we can essentially see everything around the black hole and go, right, there's something in the middle there, but technically you're not viewing it itself there. Space is weird, but also infinitely interesting there. You can still buy it. I'll have to try it, see if I do remember it there. Discord's not working. Some people do have a few issues with it there. I'll try and remember to check your ones out there. If you tag us, then I definitely will. Too much info, I know, Rachel, but it blew my mind because it is hilarious. The other half of the people don't know. And then you realise that you live with somebody who is the other side, and you're like, what? You're weird. there. The old medicine helps. I'm a big fan of that one there. If you steep the garlic cloves in honey for a week, and it's much easier on the palate there, I bet. I mean, for raw garlic, though. Worst medicine ever, Pepto-Bismol. I haven't had that again since being a kid there. Am I right in thinking, is it Pepto-Bismol that tastes like Dr. Pepper? Hydration reminder, thank you there, Maya. Where are we? Over on the tubes there. Raf's in, and Krista there. They have a subspace communication network there, and I don't know how it works there. It's the Star Trek subspace communicator. And why are those orange lines in the middle so wide? Which orange lines? We've got the ridges there, so all of a sudden, it's a good question. So if I'm getting it right, DJ, then that would be these ones here. So they've not peaked the orange yet, but maybe when it was red earlier there. So the reason is that, can you see this one here? Look, we've got a little spike of a signal here. It's very thin, it's very precise, but here it's showing it as a ridge, and that is basically, it's the same information on these two charts, but the top one is dynamic, and it is the real-time signals coming in. This, it views it through averages, so for some reason it displays it like that, but it allows us to see those patterns and those trends are there. They eat the light and everything around it there. They're not picky, not at all. Not in at all there. Pepto is like liquid chalk. Okay, maybe I must have had it at some point there. Is it like Rennie's, but liquid? Because I quite like a Rennie, a spearmint Rennie. I could have that as a treat there. The pink stuff there. They've got a very annoying advert on TV at the minute there. Swill out, drown the virus out, Maya. There. Gaviscon, that might be what I'm thinking. Still no waterfall there. Can't your software do that? The software, the waterfall is there. I don't think you can see a bit of it. This bit here is the waterfall, but because there's not much data coming in here, there's nothing really to see on the waterfall. We used to have the waterfall up originally, but until you get a signal in, there's not really much to see. You can see this very thin line there, and most people think it's space, so we've got all the other stuff in to take up the real estate there. Could that be sleep paralysis, unable to move or scream during the black hole nightmare? Could well be there. And Dazzy, how are you doing tonight there? Good to see you. Feed a cold, a starve a fever there. Okay. The old what do you call it there? My God, I've got no words tonight. Tim, my brain isn't firing off there. What's the word? I want to say anecdotes, but that's not quite the right word, is it? There's a lot of truth in the old wisdom. Not allowed those anymore. Too high in sodium. I didn't even consider that. There's a whole medical, of all of that sort of stuff that you have to consider as well there. Old wives' tale. That's what I was thinking. I think A up there. But I thought, is that a bit too mean these days there? Glad to hear it there, Dazzy. What have you been up to? How are we doing tubers as well tonight? Trying to keep up across all of the chats there. Our advice that would have hung, been hung for a witch, exactly. Mum has had a sleep paralysis once and hopes she never has again. It is not nice, the sleep paralysis. I've had that. I used to have that a lot when I was younger. But I never saw the sleep paralysis demon. But just about everything else, though. I had to watch what meds, even herbal remedies. The consideration. I was trying to do a diet once where I was cutting out sugar. I don't know, for a week, however long I lasted with it. And like everything that you want to get, even like what you think is like raw ingredients, everything's got sugar in it there. Oh, rosemary's good for the immune system there. This is the thing, we get so out of whack, don't we? Whether it is our diets being polluted by this, that, and other, our, lack of sleep through technology and our circadian rhythm being knocked out, all this sort of stuff there, that, if you can just let the body, I think, get back to a reasonable level of homeostasis, that you can probably solve quite a lot of the things there. Oh my God, Schweizer's theory is brilliant. I love studying it. Oh, what is it? Tell us more there, man. And everything has either sugar, sodium, or phosphorus in it there. I mean, I'm not surprised there. I'm not surprised there. And Dr. Gaz, how are you doing tonight? Guys, if you are just joining us, we are doing a live alien radio signal hunt. We are searching what's called the hydrogen line. That is the channel on the radio dial where scientists theorize we are most likely to hear a message from ET, should they be out there sending messages. Over the years, we have detected a number of anomalous radio signals coming in on this very frequency. Not exclusively restricted to this frequency, but quite a few. But we're specifically listening out for the hello, is anybody else out there sort of message there from a distant civilization. A high-powered radio transmission sent out into deep space, not necessarily knowing if there is a recipient to hear it there. So we're not really looking for ET talking to ET, their interstellar Deliveroo or Amazon orders, all of that sort of stuff. That could be on any frequency. It might not even be in radio. There might be a different technology they use for that. But for the purposes of reaching out to say hello to an unknown stellar neighbour, then the best way to do it is probably radio. And on this frequency out of all of those channels on the dial there. Okay, I'm glad to hear it there, Dr. Gaz. Yeah, no, we're all good. I've got a bit of a cold, so I've been saying this is going to be the reverse of ASMR. Lots of horrible sounds for you all tonight of me snivelling away, but we'll persevere through. So, guys, if you just joined us, we're doing the live alien radio signal hunt. On clear nights, we do a UFO, a UAP, a skywatch there, looking out to the stars, hoping to see some strange anomalous things, and we tend to see quite a lot of strange things here. We're based in Wiltshire in the UK, which is right in the heart of crop circle country and just down the road from Stonehenge. So yeah, the skies are alive from activity, and as the summer is rolling in, those skies are getting very, very, very busy indeed. So do keep an eye out to there. I'm sure we'll have a few sky watches this week. Where are we? Oh, interstellar flashing. So we have seen it. Well, we have seen some very anomalous flashing. And oh, DJ, literally last week we got so many really interesting ones. So we got 2 moving objects that were flashing in that self, not necessarily that anomalous, but one of them was it green to blue, and one of them was just flashing away green. Never seen that before. That was really, really cool to see there. Is it a 0.6 hertz? So we're on a 0.1420, I think, 0.5, I think, something like that. We're on the hydrogen line there, and that is the frequency that hydrogen gas naturally emits a radio signal as it decays, neutral hydrogen, which is the most abundant element in our galaxy. So therefore it gives scientists a really good benchmark to understand the universe and what is going on. There'll always be eyes and ears on this frequency, even if we don't use radio technology anymore to communicate. This still will always tell us information about the universe there, because nature is noisy in radio. Is nature's voice is actually radio there for amongst the stars. So yeah, there'll always be ears on it, and that is one of the reasons why it is a good place to put it here. But also it helps us in the fact that it is reserved for listening only for those radio scientific purposes. One of the few places on the radio dial where you're not allowed, or nobody's allowed, to transmit. So any signals that we do get here are unlikely to be Wi-Fi or your phone or somebody using a satellite phone or something like that. We can still get the odd bit of electronic interference, but yeah, by international treaty, nobody's actually allowed to transmit on this. That immediately helps us identify any signals that may be coming in as potentially anomalous versus they could be, human and man-made. One of the other frequencies is, I think it's 1.6, which is seen on shows like Skinwalker Ranch and places like that. Now, the UFO world, the UFOs potentially do have a strong connection with 1.6, but that is also used for satellite communication, and therefore, sadly, any signals that we get without a visual sighting within it as well there, we wouldn't be able to say if they are or if they are not alien there. But down here we can safely say with a few other checks there, it helps us filter it all out there. That's why you grow all your own food there from stalk to table. Honestly, man, I would love to do something like that. Wouldn't be very good at it, but I would actually love to there. And Mr. Money is in the house. How are you feeling, Mr. Money, today? Good to see you. And loved the few years I spent growing and picking your own foods. It's such a job, though, isn't it? It is so time consuming there. You think how much you do consume there. Going to try and have a selfie with my Alan tonight there after the Constellation Live. Excellent. Oh, you're not on the Discord. Well, if you post it on TikTok, my brain's going tonight. Tag us in it so we can see it there. And TikTok, so you're already doing it there, 1.6 there for Skinwalker Ranch. So it's a very interesting theory. There are quite a few accounts where 1.6 does throw up anomalous signals, but especially where we are based here. So we are just on the edge of Salisbury Plain, which is a big military training range there. It's the largest range in the country there. Lots of military bases, and therefore lots of weird air and ground sort of radio signals pop up every now and again. So if we are to get an anomalous signal on 1.6, we just wouldn't know. It might be alien, it might be something else fancy that's going on. And actually that part of the radio spectrum, so if you imagine the radio dial in your car, they're the radio stations you tune into, but it's 20 foot long, the real dial, and each chunk, like the bit that you see on your car stereo, the old ones you twist the knob and move the line across, that's allocated for commercial radio, and then there's a bit that's allocated for marine, so boats and their radios. There's air as well, there's the military band, and there's satellite bands. 1.6 is actually reserved for satellite to ground communication. So yeah, it's difficulty there. Oh, Daisy Tree, the frequency. So yeah, that is what everything is, a frequency. I mean, we think of these things as separate, don't we? The radio versus the light, but they are all actually on the same chart of the electromagnetic spectrum there. Everything is a wave. Blows your mind. Solid matter is an illusion there. And Kate coming in with the shares, thank you for that. Guys, the likes and shares do help us reach more and more like-minded people there, like yourselves. And the more eyes and minds we can get on the odd phenomena, the more we can all piece this puzzle together there. And Dazzy, there, and vibrations are never lie. So this is even ourselves, again, solid matter is a bit of an illusion. We are just vibrations in its most simple effects there. It's just a product of how we visualize and experience the world. We are all vibrations, and therefore there's probably a lot to things like the Schumann resonance and other things that have been mentioned before. Even if we don't know the direct link, there's probably going to be something there to connect us all together for that there. And Destine there, did you like the movie Elio? Is that the brain, is that a Pixar one? It's ringing a bell, but I don't think I've seen it. And maybe I have. I don't know, you have to tell us a bit more on that one there as well. And radio is a nature's voice. It's so poetic. Thank you. It basically is. I thought it's technology. But no, radio, nature is noisy in radio. I mean, what we're listening to, other than me yapping away, that is called the cosmic microwave background. It's that baseline of noise on the radio dial. It's the same as the static on your old televisions there, or in between the radio stations when you're tuning in there. And scientists think that is the sounds, the remnants of the Big Bang, left over from all of that time. But you can tune into Jupiter, you can tune into comets. There's all sorts of weird things going on up there in a radio there. DJ, thank you for the gifts, I appreciate those. Let's go back into the stream there. And alien just means it's not from here, not a species. It's very true. It is literally, it's just the other. And we have a lot of these words, don't we? Like UFO as well. I know it's UAP as well now, or USO, this whole thing. But I'm classic, I'm old school, UFO with that. That just means unidentified. It doesn't necessarily mean little green men flying around there. In the same way, alien does not necessarily mean extraterrestrial. You can definitely say, well, that was alien to me. It's just outside of, isn't it? There, in of itself, it is not descriptive. There, it is, but at the time, I needed the therapy it provided. But that is actually quite an interesting point there, Kate. Is that we very keen as humans, and definitely the scientific world, and we've said about the issues that we do have with science, we know, which is it's very narrow focus. That's how it works. It moves the needle one tiny point in one very small area quite consistently, and that's how we progress. And it's great at doing that, but it misses the bigger picture. And how many times have we been around here, Kate, where they'll go, look, here is this thing, you need this, it gives you the thing, but then we've missed all of the other adjacent things there. So just like you growing the food there, it's physically getting cleaner food there for your plate, helping your body with all the correct nutrients and all that sort of stuff. But the process of doing that is probably as well a bit meditative, giving yourself some sort of forcible space in our time there. We tend to develop a new product as humans, that will solve one specific purpose there, but we've not thought about all of the other connected sort of things that the consequences from around that. And we see this all the time in medicine. They'll go, right, this particular drug targets this particular thing here, but what about the 12 other things we didn't really pay attention to? It's the nature of interconnectedness is such a deep web there. And 0.6 should be transferring data. Yeah, so that is the I think it's the satellite uplink band there. I've actually come off of Discord there. No worries, Rachel. It took me about 4 years to get used to it. I'm a legal alien yourself there. Again, see, that's actually a good point. There's another way of that word being used. So over here in the UK, it's not one that we tend to use to talk around immigration or anything like that. But in the US, that word has a whole other connotation that you don't really consider there, illegal aliens and things like that. Which is no wonder the stream was getting flagged so much. We're not talking about that. Mr. Money coming in for the shares there, thank you. That, I see all those likes as well, tapping away, guys. Does help us reach more and more like-minded people like yourselves. And Carl.
Nom nom nom, thanks, guys.
Thank you for feeding Alan there. Captain Tapper, he is. Harko is the king. There. And Leanne, can you whistle to Otis, please? Hello, Otis. Are you watching? That's one of the birds. He's downstairs. Hi, Otis. Are you going to come up? You're going to come on stream. And everybody thank DJ there if you claimed the treasure box there. Thank you, DJ, for putting that one up. And Tito there. I learned a good knowledgeable info. I love to find out all sorts, but space is my guilty pleasure there. That is why we all get on, isn't it there, TikTok? Because, that is it. The guilty pleasure is a great way of putting it there. There's something about... Personally, I just love learning about space. And I say learning, I might pick up one of the 10 things that's mentioned in any bit of content that I consume on the subject. I'm not the best student, but it is just endlessly fascinating. And I said before, I feel like a kid in a candy shop whenever there's a really good space documentary on or something like that, just learning about all of the wonders and the possibilities there. So I totally feel you there. More humanoid ETs this day, and that is something I just find so interesting. What does that tell us? There is information that can be extrapolated there, isn't there? Humanoid ETs. What are the chances of an evolutionary convergence that ET, they all look very similar to us there, bipedal, heads on shoulders and things like that. That seems to be quite slim. If you look actually on Earth, look at all the different forms of life that we have, and they're all evolutionary adapted for their particular niche, but it's still Earth, it's still our environment, and yet I think we're the only branch, aren't we, that's bipedal like this. So what is the chances that aliens would be there? I think on the face of it, it's pretty slim, but there could be a good reason there. It might be that this is just actually, hence the difference between us and our closest ancestor, like the intelligence gaps and how we use tools and things like that. There's quite a big jump there. Maybe there is something so advantageous about this physical layout, this evolutionary step for us, that maybe that is what's needed, and that is why we're seeing the equivalents from other systems coming in. So it's possible. Another one that I heard the other day, and I thought this was really, really interesting, because I hadn't really considered this before, but we talk, don't we, a lot of the time, definitely classically, about extraterrestrials there. So little green men, or other grey men, from other planets there, coming from a distant planets, over to ours, popping by, having a visit there. And now recently we're hearing more things like, extratemporal as well, which could be us from the future. That is a very, very compelling argument there, that even the greys, they look to be, us on the same evolutionary track. If we continue on, we would evolve into what the greys look like there. But you've got, extra dimensional as well there. There's even sort of adjacent civilizations, maybe part of humanity broke off and has come back to visit us and things like that. But one that I had heard the other day, and I keep meaning to bring it up because it's a bit of a left field to go, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, is not just us from the future, but how about us from the past? And this is what is really, really interesting. Okay, well, I suppose we're just flipping it from the future to the past there, but we know that actually traveling forward in time is much easier than travelling backwards in time. We still don't know if it's technically possible to travel backwards in time, but travelling forward in time, I mean, we do it all the time. Oh, I've just done it again. But no, you can make big jumps there. Like the faster you go to the speed of light there, due to relativity, you know, the other people, you know, time passes much quicker for the people you leave behind. So you might go at the speed of light for 2 weeks off to a star, but you know, it's been 2 weeks for you, but it's been 200 years for the people you left behind there. That's how relativity works. So it would actually be quite easy if there was a previous technological civilization, rather than them, you know, be visiting us, you know, as their ancestors in the past. But if they were from the past and they've come to the future and now they can't get back, it's an interesting twist on it there. And I read about the that frequency when I bought a handheld radio. Oh, did you really? What were they saying on it there? And the process was, what I did for it there, the procedure was the produce was happy a perk there. Exactly, we just think, people in business do that all the time, and I think it's a brilliant a way to kind of highlight the obviousness here, right? Like, we don't just buy music. Just to pick one here, right? There are many different reasons why we might buy music there. If you want music to get you through your day, to accompany you on your gym, the commoditized part of it there, you know, you need it, and you need it as cheaply and as quickly as possible, you go to Spotify there. But there's a whole other angle here, that if that music, it hits you in a certain way there, and you want to kind of bathe in that feeling, well, then you go out of your way to then physically purchase a vinyl record, right? And you will purchase that, you'll pay money, which will feel very differently, feel like more of an act there. You have something tangible in your hands with beautiful cover art there, and then you'll delicately take the record out there, and you play it and you set it all up and you put it on, and you know, it's a whole process. It's meditative there, and it's the same product, but we're getting two separate things out of it. And you know, we're always evolving for the commoditization, cheaper, faster, more efficient. It's a big part, maybe 80% of what we do, but it's not everything. And then we leave those things behind at our detriment there, because we still need those other parts to it there. Definitely therapeutic there, and meds move so fast there, they definitely do. And overall, it's good. Overall, you know, I would not like to be a Victorian there, but we just don't learn the most basic of principle, which is the law of unintended consequences there. Like, you have to just try shit for a certain period of time to just see where the problems are. Like, that is the thing there. And everybody thank Maya for the treasure box there as well. And I'm just going to hang out on the Twitch for a bit there. I have a scene looping in my head to write that. I love the creative urge there, Kate. We'll see you over there. And no worries. And it won't let me concentrate. I feel that one. Pluto, how are you doing there? Good to see you. So it's taken me a few minutes to catch up in the chat there. Loving stickers there, Maya as well, and Dazzy there, thank you for the gifts, appreciate all that. Goes back in the stream there, and Rosetta there. Alright, Neil deGrasse Tyson, chill out. I hate Neil deGrasse Tyson, he's probably the worst. That's why you said it, you bastard, you thief. There we go. Dazzy as well. The humanoid ETs could be humans from the old world, still alive among us and advanced humans who survived the reset. That is one of the theories there, this antediluvian ones. You know, did they survive a cataclysm? You know, and kind of then we just re-emerged from the ashes, but they're this separate coexisting species, maybe underground, maybe in the bottom of the ocean. Lots of interesting theories around that one. And I mean, they keep pushing back the age of anatomically correct humans, you know. So initially, I mean, we didn't think that we were as we are now, modern humans. You know, I think it's like 30,000 years they thought that we had been like this. And then lo and behold, oh, there's an old bone, there's an old skull. Another 100,000 years there, 200,000, 300,000, 330,000, and I think there's a skull recently or something that pushes it close to 1 million potentially there, which is heavily disputed. But a lot of when they're finding those fossilized like humanoid remains there that they might apportion to Neanderthal there or others, it's actually very hard to identify, you know, a modern human versus a Neanderthal in most of the bones or the other many branches of humanoid species there. So we may have actually found much older records of anatomically correct humans. We just didn't find the interesting bits. So what they do is when they've got a leg bone, they've got a femur, they've got a rib or something like that, they all look pretty similar across the human range there. So they'll go, right, okay, this is 1 million years old. Well, it can't be humans because we don't think humans have been around this long. So it's a bit of a catch-22 there. They need to find teeth, skulls, finger bones, things like that, which feet as well, I think, are a bit of a giveaway for us. There. And Dazzy, no, I've done that one. The deep dive, exactly. Feed him there, Rosetta. And Pluto, hope you are feeling better there. You can tell it's still, it is a bit today. The words, they're not coming, Pluto. Thank you. And David there, the truth is out there. The X-Files theme starts playing. Honestly, I think when the truth is out there, and look, I don't think the truth is going to be... I don't think it's going to be that close to a lot of the theories that are going to come out there. I'm going to think it's going to be of the same flavour, but it ain't going to be quite right, because we're all stabbing in the dark, aren't we, trying to piece this puzzle together. But I think when it comes out, we're going to be able to look back retrospectively and go, they were telling us then. It was dropped in here. How did we not? It was waved in front of our face. And there's one of these things that I think is absolutely hilarious there. Like, we look at Mars, the red planet. And it has been debated until very, 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 very recently. I'm talking a handful of years, single-digit years. That was Mars habitable at any point there? Did it have liquid water oceans? Did it have an atmosphere? Did it have a life potentially on there? Did it have an oxygen-rich atmosphere? All of this sort of stuff. And it was heavily contested. And because of the way science works, is until they've seen the evidence of something, then no chance. So the scientists were bitterly going, there's no evidence Mars has ever had any of this, blah, 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 blah. Well, it turns out Mars is red because the iron in its soil has been oxidized. So the evidence was staring at us all along that Mars had an oxygen atmosphere. Because otherwise it wouldn't be fucking red. It's something along those lines. Not quite perfect there. But I think there's going to be those things. You're going to go, yeah, it's been there. Why do we not believe it? There. Sent you 2 videos of Otis watching so you can share. I don't know if I can bring them up. It's on my phone. Let's have a look. Otis. This is the parrot he's watching downstairs. Oh. Sorry, the parrot's watching us downstairs. Oh, there. And what I don't get, how the International Space Station never filmed Artemis there. I mean, it's a good question. They've got the cupola, haven't they? They've got that sort of stuff. Was it in the right place at the right time? I don't know. I think there are questions. I'm not like cynical of people being cynical. I think that's totally, there's some fair questions. Space is one of those ones that, like, every now and again you'll think, why is there this sort of thing here? And then there's a very particular reason. Here's a good example. So like the Apollo astronauts always used to say, look, you can't see the stars from the surface of the moon there. And you think logically, well, how the fuck can't you see the stars? There's no atmosphere. You're out there in space. The moon isn't the sun. It's not like emitting its own light. Why can't you see the stars? Well, it turns out because the moon is so bloody reflective and there's nothing in the way from the sun there, that light from the surface just takes out your night vision basically. So the much duller light from those distant stars, you can't see it apparently. But it didn't kind of make logical sense until you go, oh, okay, there. Oh, you got another sensitivity there, Kate. What could that be correlated to? Was it DJs? I thought I'd missed a second one there. Thank you, DJ, as well for that. And I want to go, say it over, I can't bother. So the feeling of that. Pluto there, aliens might not be carbon-based, but instead it could use silicon or chemicals like ammonia. 100%. We're basing it, and it makes sense, doesn't it, on what we know. Well, we know life can exist by being carbon-based. I mean, look at us. So that's a good starting point. But we can't restrict ourselves for those areas, for the ways that we haven't even considered yet. And we have a habit of not necessarily being able to see what is literally there. We have to see it through the eyes of something that we do understand. So the plasmoids, again, they're a big, interesting one. I think there's going to be so much coming out about that plasma in a magnetic field in some cases can be intelligent, could be intelligent, sentient life that's been with us the whole time. But because it's so different, doesn't compete with our resources like we do, then maybe, we have been ignoring it this whole time. And can we all take a moment to pay our respects for the Spurs fans? Did they not do well? And I am not carbon-based. I'm a hologram who's debating if I want to say it or not. You reminded me of Rimmer from Red Dwarf there. Where are we? Over on the... the Deep Space Radio Network. Yeah, so I think at the minute there are a couple of how the Deep Space Radio Network works. I don't know a lot on it. The gist is that there are, orbiters around certain planets there for the certain missions, so they can use that to sort of piggyback transmissions down there. But, there are a handful of very large dishes, or, telescopes around, technically receiving dishes, around the world, normally within each hemisphere, so when the Earth rotates, there's always one dish covering one part of the sky at all times there, and they're so large that therefore they're so sensitive that they can detect some of those deep space radio transmissions there. Where are we? Negative Rosetta is a meat popsicle. Delicious there. Smackhead. I need to re-watch Red Dwarf. I was obsessed with that as a child, but I haven't revisited it. Although I did watch a video on it last night going how realistic they're trying to do the science of it. That's quite interesting. But anyway, guys, if you are just joining us, we are doing a live alien radio signal hunt tonight. We are searching the hydrogen line. The hydrogen line, the channel on the radio dial there, that scientists theorize that if ET is out there, this is where they'd put the message, hello, is anybody else out there? Where are we? Have you heard of the Mardar detectors? Oh no, I haven't there, UFP. What are those, the Mardar detectors? Tell us more on those ones. Fifth Element. No, I was talking to Pluto with a smeghead. And in that case, make sure... Hold on. God, I'm still a bit rough today, guys, sorry. So just watching the videos of Otis, listening back there. So yeah, we are listening out for potential alien radio signals coming in from amongst the stars there. So we've heard a number of interesting signals on this frequency in the past. Not just the WOW signal, many more since then, also equally as interesting there. In fact, the recent SETI at Home project, I say recent, it was mostly public during the early 2000s there, but they've only just finished with the processing of that data, and they've come out with nearly 100 candidates of anomalous signals. So God knows how long it'll take them to check those ones out, but there are so many anomalies up there in space. So many. It's just hard being able to, definitely prove that these signals are extraterrestrial in nature there. And they are nodes that you can buy that measure about 4 different markers and attempt to detect UFOs. I've heard something, might be these ones or it might be a different one there. There's certain people that you can kind of put together like a UFO sensor rig, about £500 or something, I think is the total cost, and then it kind of works with other people doing the project. I've heard that one before, and there's recently somebody doing a sort of a gravitational anomaly detector. That was quite interesting. I'd be very interested in doing something like that here. And what was that called? Yeah, you did say it was Mardar project. Oh, Mardar detectors. I'll have to check that one out. Thank you for the heads up there, Unidentified. And things like air pressure changes, changing magnetic field, etc. It does sound familiar there. So this is the hotspot for it. You know, we are based in Wiltshire in the UK, which is right in the heart of crop circle country and just down the road from Stonehenge. So lots of activity in these skies there. And good question coming in. Can I read that one from Giant Carbonara? Good name there. How are you doing? Have you ever got anything? So we haven't got anything doing the radio signal hunt ourselves yet. This is quite, it is a bit of a right place, right time sort of thing. They're much rarer, but they do happen. But when they happen, they are, you know, big news. But we do a UFO skywatch whenever the sky is clear. As I said before, we are in the heart of crop circle country, so these skies are alive with activity, especially as the season is changing there. So do hang around for those ones. We tend to see something pretty much every stream when we get the camera out for that one. I'm seeing the wonderful red dwarf quotes there, which are making me feel very nostalgic there. Their new models have a sensor that can detect gravity field differences. Now, that is cool. And you'd think, wouldn't you, in the day and age that we live in now, it can't actually be too difficult to put a sensor suite like that together, to have like the weirdos like us, you know, start to build a network. And this is, I think, the thing here. There's two things that need to happen for disclosure. And for this to become mainstream. The first is what's happening right now, that we're all a part of this very second, which is being more interconnected. And the more interconnected we get, the more we can share our experiences, we can share our stories, we can learn, and we can really understand all of this more. And I think that is the main part of the modern disclosure movement, is that more people are just seeing more and more, and just the narrative of it's swamp gas, don't look there, is just not holding up as much as it used to, and therefore they're letting out as little as they possibly can, just to kind of keep it as stable as possible. But as we get more connected, they'll have to release more, and eventually it will come out. That's a big part of the phenomena. But also, what gets this over the line for science when we can actually start to properly get this looked at? So there are the odd good scientists, mainstream scientists out there that is very curious, and they're doing their best. But like, as a general, to put this generally on the cards for mainstream science, how do we bring it in from the fringes? You know, and you can look back throughout history, and there have been so many things that mainstream science at the time said was not possible, is not possible, but then eventually they get that physical evidence that can be tested and can be repeated, and that is the magic of science, is when it eventually is forced to, it will adjust that. And I think, is it like mountain gorillas was one of the ones? They were treated the same as, I don't know if you're going about 80, 100 years or whatever it is, they were treated the same as you know, Bigfoot. You know, it's folklore, it's just the locals talking nonsense, there is no big apes in this area, blah blah blah, like that. And, you know, and the whole, well, you know, where's your evidence for it? You know, but, you know, it relied on them having to actually capture one. And this is the same issue that we have with the UFO world. You know, a lot of people are having experiences, but it's not something that science can easily reproduce in a lab or even go out and study properly like that. Science always struggles with that step. But there is another thing, and I think it's Earthlights. Basically, this is a phenomenon that has been spoken about for a very long time colloquially, that basically before an earthquake, lights will appear in the sky over that area. And, you know, there's many people who've had their theories and all this sort of stuff, but generally it's just not it's not taken seriously by the geologists there. In fact, it's still currently on the USGS, the US Geological Survey's website, it still says that they are folklore, you know, old wives' tales and stuff like that. But that is a bit outdated, because they have now, with our technology of, you know, satellite imagery, we're getting so many images up to date now of the Earth, they have actually been able to see these things in the satellite images. Oh, that's illuminated there, then, you know. So now they've got that technology, they can now get the evidence, and they can therefore change what they wrote off before and correct for that. And it'll be the same with the UFO. So what particular piece of technology, this is my long way around coming to that, do we need, that we're missing at the minute, to kind of get the attention of science? And I think it's that global monitoring. You know, if we can connect consistent anomalous data that then science can study. Now, I think that data is being collected from a military perspective, and I'd be very surprised if they're not doing something on that end. But for the wider public's scientific interest there. In fact, there's a satellite system the Americans have had up, I think, since like the late 60s, and it's an infrared satellite system that points down to the ground, and it basically looks for flashes of light, which basically, and it's trained for certain flashes of light, means basically the Russians are launching an ICBM, so it's an early warning system to see if anybody's launching nukes. Now, apparently this system, I'm sure has been updated many times since there, witnesses UFOs quite regularly coming in and out of our atmosphere, so much so that they've got nicknames and things like that. So a sensor system like that, so we've got our Google Earth and things like that that we can access, but if we can access that in the infrared, then I imagine there would be we'll get more. We'll be able to push the data over the line, so it's only it's not just so far away. I think we are on the cusp of that. Blue Nose, how are you doing? Thank you for the heart there. How's your weekend been there? So I think, yeah, we're getting there. Oh, and I've got to go there, but I followed you for a while. Oh, thank you, Unidentified Flying Project. I do appreciate that, and I'll have to check you out. Well, if I haven't already, I might have. But do join us later in the week, because we're going to have some really good clear skies. So we'll have another sky watch, and we've been seeing some very interesting things lately. So I really appreciate your input there. I'll have to look up those stuff. If you do come across it, or if anybody comes across those sensor things, do tag us in it. So therefore, I'm more likely to remember to check those ones out there. Swamp Gas, I know it's the classic. There, and you're trying to get me to sing there, DJ. It almost worked. Oh, bad night tonight. Oh my God. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, Blue Nose. That is always really, really hard there. Well, definitely thoughts are with you for that one. It's just an awful time now. Hopefully we can distract somewhat. That is horrible to hear, but yeah, definitely feeling with you there. There we go. Oh, we're actually up to date there. Where are we? Over on the tubes there. Harco's in there as well. And can a soul be simulated? So Zen, that is a very interesting question. And I don't think... I think when we talk about souls, it's like us saying, well, are the aliens from Zeta Reticuli, or are they from Europa? I don't know, picking up another planet there. So basically, we haven't set out enough of the basics in the questions. Jesus, sorry guys, for us to be able to answer the latter with that as well. Only 49. Jesus, Blue. That is awful. That's 49. That is no time at all. Oh, very sorry to hear that one. There, I've literally just run out of it there. I need to ring my little bell, get some more up here. There, and Grim, thank you for feeding Alan.
Nom nom nom. Thanks, guys.
So yeah, can a soul be simulated? We need to understand what a soul is first. Are we explaining a not necessarily a physical thing? That'd be the wrong word. But like there has been some version of a soul, hasn't there, in human understanding for a very, very long time. It's taken different names and slight differences here or there. So are we all describing a phenomena that is real, or is it something that's associated with it? Like, I don't know what part would be the human soul, like when we're describing these things. But also I do feel very much like there probably is one. But yeah, we need to, I think, flesh out the details of it, don't we? But then before we can ask more questions around it. God, my brain is not working tonight there. But I think the souls are very interesting. They come up, don't they, in the UFO world, I think fairly regularly, along the lines of, that this is a prison planet. Maybe the ETs are harvesting the souls there. Maybe we're containers for souls. And that actually ties in to some degree with the modern understanding of sort of consciousness versus reality. And lots of scientists are putting forward the idea that the reality that we experience is more like a VR headset. We forget that we've got the headset on. But, and maybe this soul, maybe, you know, that is the body is the headset here. Once we inhabit the body, we think we are the body, and go from there. God, sorry, words tonight, guys. The flu, I hate to call it, it's not flu, it's a cold, but it's definitely, it's affecting the older brain tonight. But yeah, so there's lots of things around. I think it's an interesting realm of exploration, but we need to flesh out the details around it there. And so what if the aliens are us, and this is their quantum meosphere, and we are basically Civ 6? Again, yeah, we could well be. You know, there is, you know, strong arguments to be made that we are in some form of simulation. I lean more the way that that's just how reality works rather than we are in a simulation. But you look at the quantum world, in those things we mentioned about, you know, VR headsets and things like that, and those theories, it does actually look very, very much like we are in a simulation. But I think it's probably more, yeah, just how reality renders. But yeah, could we be their toy? We could. We would. How would we know? But possible. I've now got that Rosetta in my head. The music video from that one. Sensitives. Oh, you all have ears. I was. You know what, Kat? When you said that, I was going to ask there. So here's a reminder there. People that are sensitive/intuitive there, are you getting any physical symptoms currently at the minute? Having some reports come in there. And Pluto, doing great. Appreciate your efforts. It's cutting where you are. Oh, thank you, Pluto. That's very, very kind. I still feel lost. I wasn't sure if I had made the right call not being on last night. Sometimes I'm drained, but also I feel worse when I'm not on. I think maybe that's a sign of addiction, isn't it? But yeah, we'll bluster our way through. You'll have to deal with a lots of this pauses as my brain catches up. Coffee needed. I did miss my daily coffee today there. And you know, the Matrix scene where they hook them up, I mean, yeah, could well be something like that. And this is what's brilliant about sci-fi, is that it's not necessarily a literal explanation, but within these are thought experiments. They're seeing, does this shoe fit here? Does this shoe fit there? What about this little part? And I think it's kind of similar to fashion in this sense, and I have to credit an ex of mine of many, many years ago. She's very into her fashion, and I, being me, I'm not very into fashion, nor do I understand it in the slightest, and therefore have no time for it. But she informed me, it's like, oh, well, this is ridiculous. You see Fashion Week there, and they've got 2 bits of bacon strapped to themselves and a zip across their face. What the hell is that about? Like that. And so she pointed out that it's not that anybody is really going to go and wear any of those particular outfits. What they're doing is they're presenting ideas to other designers, and those designers are going to look at that meat suit and go, that's hideous, but they've placed that zip slightly higher above the left breast. I like that. That's going in next year's TK Maxx PVC pants line, or whatever it might be there, and that's how a lot of these things work. You know, sci-fi is the same there. It's not that, you know, episode 12 season 2 Star Trek Voyager that is exactly correct there, but there might be a touch point in there. There might be a couple of things that it might have got quite right, and then slowly we all piece this puzzle together there. So the Matrix could well be part of that too there. I don't know the meaning of the word Pluto. We've had 2 nights off this week, right? So it was meant to be raining last night. It was when I cancelled it, but then it was lovely and clear afterwards. So the regret of not coming on, missed another clear night. And then typically it was meant to be cloudy on Thursday when we did the quest. It was clear, wasn't it, by the time I got home there. Oh, A up, you've got a ringing 2. So we've got 2 down there. Oh, I'm not. No, I'm not that connected. Don't know about anyone else, but the foundations of my reality have been rocked. Oh, we're talking about the fashion. Yeah, sorry. This brain is very dead tonight there. Scam Sam skinny jeans. Exactly. That's it now. I'll be buried in skinny jeans there. More cords and jumpers. I've not quite reached that age yet there. every day is a new experience at the moment, and feeling like I am being steered to something. Going with the flow, I always leads to good things there, Up. That's a good, interesting place to be there. And I mean, personally, I defo use the Universal Akashic Records to reconstruct the first Sapiens and replay it with each variable changed to triangulate the likely lost records of their distant ancestors. Well, actually, yeah. I mean, it's a very, very, very good point. That, if technology goes on consistently on its track, its development, then at some point we can expect to have the ability to simulate reality to a high degree. And would we? Of course we would. And that's a brilliant use case for it there, to run through history and see the things that we have missed. 100% would be the case. I think that was because Musk popularized this, didn't he? The simulation hypothesis years ago. And he says that the chances that we are in base reality is pretty slim. So, like, if you say that it is plausible, it is possible, it doesn't break physics to simulate reality, then at some point over time somebody would have done that one. That's quite a high likelihood. Then well, what's the chances that out of all of the simulated, because there'll be more simulated realities in reality, your chances are pretty slim that you're in base reality. So heard that a lot recently, and I bet it has something to do with so many of us sensitives connecting to the frequency. There is going to be something to it. Again, I don't know if anybody's interpretation of the overall thing is going to be correct, but that there is something there, and there is a connected at 100%. There will be. And when we are alive, do you think they throw our souls into some big tombola and get redistributed? A lot of places talk about that. I don't know about the maths on it, though. That's the one question I have, is that, if we're at 8 billion population now, like, where do all the other souls go? Like, there's got to be like a header tank somewhere, hasn't there, that takes the overflow. All right, Earth's only got a small population at the minute, but Ross 128b has got a high population, so then maybe that population dies, and then those souls go here. How does it distribute? And that's not us saying I don't believe it, but hey, cowboy, thank you there, Blue Nose. That's very kind of you. Where's my hat? Talk about fashion. See, actually, I do know fashion. There we go. I thought the thing was still on then. How does that work? And again, that could be a very... it is a very physical sort of understanding, isn't it? There, very by our general relativistic understandings of one in, one out. So it might be the wrong question to be answered there. But lots of religions and things like that over the years all kind of come down to something like that, don't they? It's a rabbit hole and a half. Well, let's get our boots on and go down that rabbit hole. Purgatory. I'll see everybody there. Rosetta, that one hat I don't own is a fedora, and that will stay that way. Ironically, though, Leanne does, and I am a bit worried that she's going to get a samurai sword and a ponytail. There, Ron Jeremy. I've got another collection of hats. We had these from the other night. I've got my top hat. Doesn't work on the headphones. And I've got my fez down there. Excuse me. Thank you for the rose as well there. We've got it all going there. Earth's population is a lie. So they do think, don't they, that at the very least China is probably fluffing the numbers a little bit, because they're the one, they're meant to have 1 billion people on their own. And I mean, they're probably not exactly the most forthcoming with actual numbers. But I mean, there are lots of things that we have. There is objective reality and then there is functional reality, and this comes up for us all of the time, whether it's what we're taught in school, whether it's our historic timeline, whether it's how the world works. They are two very different things, and the functional one kind of gets you going and gets you rolling, gets you moving through life without having to spend an entire lifetime of relearning absolutely everything there. But we often mistake the functional for the objective there. But no, you're right. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it did turn out there was some sort of shenanigans afoot. But this, if we have, there are massive ups and downs in population. Where do they just wait and do they queue up? Like if we went through a catastrophe there and say we went down from 1 billion to 500 million, do 500 million souls have to wait somewhere? And then they start waiting and then they go in as the population rebuilds? I don't know. And I also have a very hard time in understanding or separating what is, for example, myself from this life, from the things that I have learnt from this life, and from what would be transient there. And some interesting examples are, when people have, their past life, memories and things like that. It's quite a literal one, isn't it, there? But personally, there's so many things. I can't say all of the things, all of my traits, my personality traits and things like this, that I can definitely apportion to how I was brought up, the experiences I've had, and all of that sort of stuff, the culture that I was born into. I'm not sure what transcends all of that, and what of the lessons that we'd be learning on multiple times round how would those lessons be applied and be useful to something that isn't this reality. So I definitely am very interested in it, though. I do not know your name, but your face is familiar. Is that... No, I'm not going to say what I think that is. Their reincarnation is... I mean, there are some very compelling cases there. I just wonder how it would work there. Keep following all the information and see where you get. I ain't got time. He's scared Alan there. You're not infected you through the screen there. Really? Actually, that's a really... Actually, that fits now, doesn't it? Is it something that she felt like, matched? Did she have any... did your mum Rosetta have any inkling towards it before? Did it reinforce, or was it like a total curveball? The hardest thing to grip about past lives is facing the fact that at one or more points you are a very bad person. But that, Kate, is actually what a lot of people have a current, like in their current life, isn't it? Like not sadly enough people, I don't think. But that is half of PTSD, isn't it? Half of PTSD, and we play it in the media along the lines of, you've had a very bad experience, and therefore that shocked the system. But a lot of the time it is being shocked at one's own behaviour in certain situations as well, and that is one of the big ones there. And a very, very bad person. But I think so, and I don't think people necessarily default. I feel like in a lot of cases you have to learn to be good. It's easy when you're not risking anything, but to actually be in a high stakes situation to still be good. I think that takes learning. I mean, not for everybody. It all came together for a reason, but not sure for what. So maybe it'll become clear with it there. And have you seen the YouTube video called The Barraboy Reincarnation Story? I don't think I have. I did watch quite a detailed one on an Indian boy, and because there's something about India, isn't there? And maybe it's that cultural thing. Maybe they're more open to these things. They have quite a lot, and they all seem to be quite interesting there. I was a toddler, and she was told that we had been together in every life there. Very much intertwined souls. Oh, that's nice, because that is the thing, isn't it? That I've always worried that the fact, I have quite close connections with many people in this life. Does that mean that that is devalued if you have close connections again and then again, and again, and again. Pitches your brain being unable to process trauma and leaving it sitting in your short-term memory. Yes, well, exactly, which is based, but that can be, trauma can be what you've done as well. It's the difference between your expectation and reality, including the cost there, because if your expectation is so vast from the reality, you can't process it. To process it, you have to understand it. So that's why on those ones. And me and one of my daughters are the same. It's exactly true, and it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Like back in the day when things weren't as complex as they are now, right? That if you come across a lion when you're out picking berries, you really should be paying all of your mental attention, if you got out of that situation, to thinking about, right, there's lions in this territory. I need to figure out how I'm going to be more aware of the lions that are around there. So that mechanism, you are fully compelled to resolve that issue, and quite rightly so. But in the modern world, the problem is it's a little bit more complex than that, and then you spend all of your time in a highly draining fight or flight situation, which isn't pleasant, but physiologically it's incredibly draining. And if there's past life, then it's plausible that there's got to be a reincarnation. Well, yes, I think they must go hand in hand, Carl. Maybe they weren't mentioned there as a So like this is one probably that's going to touch on things we're talking about, like this, like if you have multiple lives, and if it isn't the case that always, you whatever that structure of connected nature looks like, that you've not got the same parents or whatever it might be, that and you're going through multiple lives, well then, if there's 100 people that have also been my mother over the period of time, then that does devalue the relationship I have with my current mother with it there. And I often think about this in the non-past life circles there. Like, if there is something after this, which, interesting case to be made, and, you pass, or one of your partner may pass, and then you remarry, what happens then? Because if you go through half of your life with one partner there, and you're very bound and very, very close, and then you go for another half with somebody else who you've equally, gotten close with and stuff, and then at the very end, in the final analysis, you have two partners now, and what does the other one think of that then? Like, the math doesn't math. I wonder how that works there. Oh, these sneezes. It's a full-on workout. I'm going to have like a six-pack under all these layers. It's very common for strongly connected souls to be connected in many lifetimes. And what do you think then is that connecting thread? Because, so for example, my connections are the mostly, familial. It's, sort of looking, my mother, I didn't choose that one, but, we get on, my father, the same, and all of that sort of stuff. But if there's this over the course of many lives, is it just because you have that shared history, or is there something deeper that does, the connection is stronger than that? It's interesting. 100%. Brains are very interesting things, unless you're on the dark side of it there. And I believe you meet the same souls, but in different ways there. So souls stay connected, but not in the same role. I've heard similar things, like somebody was saying about, one you do parent and then grandparent or whatever. Then you're the parent of your parent or something like that. It's interesting there. And Highland Cow, how are you doing there? Spreading joy, one moo at a time there. Well, hello Highland Cow. They are beautiful creatures. They scared the crap out of me once in the New Forest. They had some Highland cows there. I know that's not in the Highlands, but those who are doing it for attention and just stuck in traffic like that, edging forward outside this little village, trying to get into, just get a drink or something. And look out my window, horse. Oh my God, it's a Highland cow. The size of the horns. I thought, how's the insurance? No claims gone there. And apparently, I died as a child in a past life of it. Oh God, I mean. I hope you don't mind me saying, Kate, that you did a reading for me, and that was my first experience with into the past life sort of stuff there. And I've got to admit, I hadn't had, previous to that, any inclination of anything. There was no, I may have not have, no, I wasn't drawn to the beaches of Cadiz or anything like that, and like that. But when you did the reading, like, it was very interesting. It really did touch on some things. So I was quite surprised at that. And can you imagine when we leave this life and we could be reincarnated as an alien? And that I think must be true, mustn't it? Like, whatever that thing is, like consciousness, life must transcend our species to a degree. Maybe there's a certain amount of overlap, I couldn't go into a bumblebee, far too different or whatever, maybe not. But yeah, I'd imagine, you've got to be on the old alien list as well there, which is interesting, having almost died being her youngest child in this one. Well, Rosetta, you're nothing if not a creature of habit. In one of your lives, was you done for thievery? I also believe you are reincarnated until you learn the lessons you need to break the ties there. I mean, that would make sense, because we literally just touched on this, didn't we, with the PTSD things. Like, mentally, you are compelled to revisit things which are very, very painful, because subconsciously you think there's such a threat, you need to figure it out. Dreams, not all of dreams, but big parts of our dream experience is essentially doing the same sort of thing conceptually. You're running various scenarios through, seeing how they play out, and then putting those things to bed. So I could totally see that there is like a higher level mechanism at play that kind of runs that for learning the lessons. I could see that one. And Sam finds our company pleasant. We don't bore here. I'm very intrigued. I'm always interested. And there are these are the conversations I love when lying in a field watching the stars. It's always 4 a.m. conversations there, the deep ones. We should definitely do that. If we did arrange a meet-up, though, it'd be the worst weather ever there. My mum is utterly mental. It's not a choice. Well, so when she said, so you've been connecting the previous lives, then I think it's always a lot more credible when the story isn't necessarily nice. Not that you want that, but that's always not a red flag. But in any explanation, whether it's past life or not, like if I'm telling you I was, Napoleon, if there's too much of a temptation there. Same with a lot of the other things as well. So I think, the more grounded, the more it makes sense. And past life regression, I know now the pattern from each I have repeated. Okay. And what is is there a defined step? Do you think that there is some, whether it be religious or spiritual, is there a closer match to what might be going on? Like, if you had to recommend a book, she just turns up. I feel that. That's what mums do. And no, it's not like that. It's this is where the soul fragments come in. Okay, tell me more. In Mormonism, once you're married, it's for life, even if they pass. I mean, that kind of sounds consistent, doesn't it? There, Mormonism. Tread lightly there with the plural wives. I mean, it's a curiosity. I'm not thinking ahead. Deep conversations. When I get tired, so hence I'm ill tonight, as you would have noticed, I will either get political, we'll go off into all the areas we don't normally do. It's deeper. Okay, it makes sense. Because this is the thing, we all of these things, we're interpreting it, aren't we, based on our current human experiences. And there may be a few exceptions to that, people picking up on things that are broader than that. But in most of the time... Oh, hello.
I heard you guys talking about reincarnation.
Yeah?
And I didn't know if maybe one day you wanted to do a deep dive
on
where reincarnation and biology intersect. Before children's memories of previous lives, and I'm not sure what this one is all about, but science of self and survival after death.
She hasn't read them yet.
I haven't read them yet.
You got homework to be doing.
If these guys are interested,
They'd be
in that
interested.
sort of thing,
They'd very much like to hear
then
that.
we could do a deep dive on
Yeah.
one day.
Okay, well, we'll do that one. Read the books as your homework.
I won't read a whole book tonight, right?
But I don't think you're committed.
Bits.
Yeah, well, definitely do it. And we'll put you in for a special deep dive on that one. That'd be cool. Where are we? Let me scroll through. Where did we get to? Oh, did you? And generational is very much a thing there. It existed within your grandmother, etc. I will be without more in. I can't pronounce that. Not when I'm ill. But generational trauma is a thing. I think there's a lot more that we pass down unconsciously, but within the I think it's passed down a lot of it physically with our behaviours and those things, not all the time. And who does readings? Readings, I like the idea of that. There's a few people in the group that are connected, and they really are. I do love almost dying. Everyone's got to have a hobby there, Rosetta. And it's Kate that did my one there. Recently, it takes a lot out of me. And knowing my luck, my next life, I'll be a tadpole. I'd be Alan on mine if I'm lucky. There. I have seen myself pregnant by the master of the house there, throwing myself off a cliff. And oh my God, that is a long thing. Interestingly enough, though, that is where we suspect Leanne's grandfather came from. Illicit child of a lord of the manor from this part of the world, actually. I keep telling her she has to deep dive into it. She might be an heir to some sort of big country pile somewhere. And Shannon, welcome aboard. Thank you for the follow. Where are you joining us from tonight? It was a holy shit moment because it made such sense when I was in the specific time. See, that's funny you saying that because that's what it was like when Kate did mine. And it's like I wasn't expecting any of the things. There was enough overlap with certain weird interests that I have that I don't express on these streams. So Kate wouldn't have known that. But it also wasn't like it was the stuff I already knew and was matching it to that. It sent me on a Googling rabbit hole, which brought up a very specific historical event, which very much fit. If I try and recite it now, I'd have to go find the messages again to get all the details. But I'll butcher it if I do it now. But it was really interesting. I could totally get that one out. And the problem with stargazing is you have to wait till midnight in the summer, as it's so light. Yeah. So when we started doing this stream, it was between 10:30 then 11 that we was going on to do this, and we were on to about 2 in the morning. It was insane. Hello, Barbie. Let's go party. Exactly, Shannon. And Lee there, back from the holidays. How are you doing, Lee? Got a lovely tan on. Did you remember Alan's duty free? We made a deal with McCain. Humans Evolved. Was it? I can't pronounce that one, sadly. And Humans Evolved. I could imagine there is a little bit of manipulation at play in our sort of genetic past there. That is very plausible to me there. It's an interesting rabbit hole, isn't it? I think we'll get Leanne to brush up and then we'll do a separate deep dive on that one. I was also thinking of doing another form of deep dive, but by deep dive, just doing it over on the Patreon live, so it's our group that we know. But maybe if people were interested in basically telling their stories and their experiences directly, so doing a live like that, so we'd have to bring you in probably via Discord, but then to the live. So not quite an interview, but more of a platform to kind of share your individual stories, like a show and tell of the community. That's what I was thinking of doing there. I still think our souls are light beings who are doing the learning, and human experiences they learn. I can see it in a lot of ways there. Past life deep dive. Yes, we go right though back. Kate, we're going to strap you in to a chair like Professor X, right? And we're going to take you back through the generations, right? Just not just the last one. I want the one before that one. I want the part before that. Oh, pulled a muscle now. Oh, We can like that. Sorry, guys. There. How TB? How are you doing? See myself as an old hairy Celt. There, that was a trip. That's quite cool. Why I stayed single for 14 years there. I needed to break the cycle for those past life. Oh my god, up. Like I could, yeah. Like I suit you with the lessons there, and we do it within our lives, don't we? We repeat these patterns, and when you eventually do break it, like I'm. Yeah, not to go into too detail, but I have friends who similar in that realm like that, and when they can they recognize a pattern, and then they can break from it, and then their life will transform, you know. And to say this from the point that I've still got about 1,000 unrecognized patterns. I'm starting to notice a few of them, but I'm not really good at breaking them. But yeah, like honestly, the power behind that, and it's to the idea that could then be spread over multiple lives, that's kind of a... You know, I heard somebody say that heaven and hell and purgatory, they're not a separate realm. That's just religious interpretation. Is that they are... You can create yourself a hell on earth, and you can be in purgatory, and you can be in... you know, you can have a somewhat of a heaven yourself as well. And the way they described it, I find myself coming back to that when I look at my patterns, and you know, and I've got a lot, but you know, and I look and go, I'm making this hell. I'm making this, and it isn't a hell. I'm not being dramatic in that sense, but these are the paths, the stepping stones to hell, isn't it? By doing these things, you know, you can make yourself repeat the same sort of things there. It just rang ever so true with that one. And Michael Brand, how are you doing tonight? Good to see you in. We've gone on a bit of a side quest today. We've dipped into past lives, and it is all connected, you know. So, but we are obviously still listening out for signals. But in the meantime, we're talking about the other stuff there. And Pluto, can we really do the spiritual reading thing? It's definitely definitely for me there. Possibly, we'll have to see if the people in the community can do that one. I know, particularly with Kate, it has taken a lot out of her. But I have been interested to see if we could experiment in these areas, like maybe we'll find somebody to do some live ones. And do you think it's okay to take a sick day because I didn't go to bed till 2 a.m. stargazing in the summer? You know what, I was doing all of this in the summer, doing that, and I didn't take many days off. But I don't think I got up on time for work for about 6 months because we were up until 4 in the morning doing this. Lee there, I've got Alan 200 Lambert and Butlers from the holiday. Alan just gave me a thumbs up. So you two have been in communication there. He said no oversized Toblerone, though. And show and tell, we spirit. Oh, mate, 100%. Yeah, that's perfect for it. Perfect. There. I had a lamb korma tonight. Am I weird there? Oh, sounds delicious. And we will all need therapy in sickbay after that deep dive. Hey, the journey ain't an easy one, but it's necessary. So, you know, it's been a very powerful learning for me, that's for sure. Powerful's a word, yeah. So, I don't think you can convey it, can you, until that there. But, yeah, I could... But this is the thing, it's so valuable there, isn't it? And to be fair, Sam, I've seen massive changes in you since you've been around the sensitive... Oh, thank you, Maya. I try to be more open-minded, but I still have that knee-jerk reaction in me of the... If I can't see the connection, then I'm very dismissive. So that's something I'm trying to be careful of with things as well there, because just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it isn't there, you know. Like what's the old one, you know, have you ever seen £1 million? God, I've never seen it, but I know it's there, you know. Like but that's, you know, this is the thing, there are so many things that might not be within our own individual experience, but it just means, you know, it's just not been there for you. but it doesn't mean it's not there for other people there. And heaven and hell are states of mind. Dazzy, I 100% I could see that with there. And devil and hell are Christian concepts to scare the Celts, Druids, etc. And it worked. But yeah, no, I can totally see like that. You know, if you want to use those lessons and then overlay it as that is a space that you can create for yourself. Yeah, that was very, very powerful. Life is sensory, very much so. And I was a Mormon in my youth, and then I joined the army and found what life was like there. That's quite a shock with it. I mean, I wasn't brought up like, you know, traditionally religious, just culturally sort of Christian there. You know, we sang the hymns at school, heard about Jesus, ate chocolate, but that sort of stuff. Leanne was brought up much more religious, but I've definitely, and I was very cynical of all religion growing up there. But I mean, it's got its flaws, but I've definitely been able to hear it in a different light. It's still not for me. I'm not fully on that road, but there have been a few things you go, oh, I think you probably got that bit right. I'm going to steal that bit. That bit could be useful with it there. The job doesn't care about you take the day off. I know, no, totally. My job does not care about me, and most people's jobs don't as well. But I'm a bit weird like this. I see my job as an opportunity. I had this discussion with some friends previously. They're like, why do you do so much extra? Why do you do that? I go, because if I get this done extra, I could get more for it and more for that. You know, like I'm a big fan of like, you are what you make of these things. And that's not for everybody. Not everybody has the privilege of the sort of job that I have. I don't think my employers don't realise what I'm doing half of the time. But yeah, it's in a self-interested sort of way. And quick rundown of soul fragments on the Twitch. Oh, let me have a look over there. Right, soul fragments. I don't. Oh, bloody thing's scrolling ahead. Sorry, guys. I'm not 100% there. But you know, I've spoken about my main guide and how he told me that time. I'm you. Well, that's basically it. He is a version of me. The hairy Celt was a version of me, and I am a version of me, and my soul is those people plus many more, all at once, because the spirit experiences time, doesn't experience time the way the human. Oh my God, Kate, you may, yeah. See, this is why I love having the cross pollination of things in here, because like. I mean, that's getting my brain going with quantum physics now, because you could write that in that sense. I mean, I'm gonna have to chew on that one, but that there's some dots that are joining with that, because I'm thinking again linearly, like we experience the things. You know, I woke up this morning, sneezed a lot, came online, and I'll go to bed at some point in the wee hours. You know, in this linear fashion there, but. That was obviously not, it's not all of reality. And, you know, that definitely doesn't always work like that. I mean, we touched, didn't we, on light cones the other day, where, you know, the order of things isn't the order of things if you're far enough away. They can be reshaped in reality. And that would make sense for these things. You know, if I'm thinking this linear, you know, I was caveman Sam, ooh, 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 and then I was Roman Sam, ooh, ooh, ooh. Probably wouldn't have gone ooh, 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 would have gone, hey there, how much for that rent, boy, or something. But then I was, you know, Venetian Sam, and, you know, all the way up through the chain there. But what if that's the wrong way? What if we're trying to piece it into that linear line? And what if these are all, fragments is a good word, you know, parts of the whole. Yeah, that there's something in that. I'm liking that one. And no one thanks you for working when you're sick. Oh, no, they don't. But again, my job is a bit of a weird one that, like, I say it's a bit weird. It's not weird in that lots of people have this sort of issue, but, like, the work is just there, but twice as much when I get back. And then everything's late, and then I get there's nobody else that can cover for me. So it's just easier to work. and could do something like we record ourselves on a video of experiences and then send them in for. Oh yes, Carl. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to have that. So maybe we could bring people in live if they want, or they can do some pre-recorded ones. We think of a name, guys. We want a name for this. Oh, the group has 100% been a massive support in many, many ways. Not just, in the obvious direct ways, but in many ways there. And, it's very, very valued there. Hell is a Norse mythology there as well. Again, is this like a convergent ideas sort of thing, like that we're all trying to describe a similar thing? Like with the soul, we're all trying to describe in different versions of that whatever this transcendent thing that surpasses, our individual human lifetimes there. When we're talking about a hell, and a heaven or whatever it is, the positives and the negatives and the creative, are we all trying to describe it there? Come on, praise him books there. Oh my god. Do you remember on the OHPs they'd have at school, put the little acetate? On there. What's the one about not dropping rubbish? That's all going to come back there. How you doing, Oscar? How you been? There. Get stage fright and bumble over my words. They're testing me. It's alright, there's no testing. But it's alright, you don't have to come on. We'll figure out a way to integrate. And devil was stolen from the pagans horn god there, who has various names. But I know him as oh my god, I can't even pronounce that one. But X and Pink Floyd, thank you for the gifts, guys. Appreciate that. All goes back into the stream. I kind of do a semi-regular Patreon live where I read a book to people. Nothing stopping you. Nothing stopping you. But you've got to make sure that you get the odd word wrong, and then you stop midway through a sentence and start again. And then don't stop for a full stop. And weird enunciations. People love that. You fell off there, Peluso. Loving stickers there, Carl. And just watched the S4 Bob Bizarre story there. Won't blow it. I very much enjoyed that as well. I won't go off on my rant about the structure. Leanne is already ridiculing me for that. But you guys know. Same thing. Always go over and above. Yeah, you don't want to kill yourself, as you say. Its work is, it's a thankless task. They don't care. They'll replace you. But there is a weird middle ground where there is normally, I don't know if normally is the right word, there is sometimes an opportunity, even where you don't see it. There as well. What I think sucks about life is when your happy time flies by, but when your sad times go slow. It's funny, if that's the word for it, isn't it? There, but it's something that we've, been aware of, isn't it? There, and I find it. I think there's many explanations of what could be going on there, but normally. And a loose one, which I can immediately find flaws with, is that essentially when things are bad, you have to pay more attention. And you pay more attention, you're taking more individual snapshots of reality. You go from, 20 FPS to 30 to 60 FPS there because you need to pay more attention, from a practical point of view. So therefore you're experiencing more of it, and therefore it goes slower there. Me and Sam talk about this stuff all the time, occasionally. Not nearly enough. And if you are listening, darling, she won't be. She'll have it on mute. Let's test this one. Can I have a drink? I'm absolutely parched. And Leanne, quantum physics and paranormal are all related there. Paranormal is normal. We just don't understand it. I would 100% say that with Leanne. Two souls can be you and exist in the same time as well. So beforehand, with my pre-existing structure, a linear structure, I would have gone, that don't make sense. But the way you just described it, okay. I'll have a Coca-Cola. Thank you. But the way you've just described it, that can fit too. God, get your head around that though. Is that on record? Or has anybody claimed to have that experience? Like, God, I bumped into myself down the shop. What a right wanker. What? That would be hilarious. God, that is a very interesting one. That is, again, Kate, it's just those seeds. There's a pattern in how you described that I know I have heard somewhere described either the multiverse or some shit along that line. And there's a match. Thank you. Right. This isn't Assassin's Creed. What was that for? I've not played Assassin's Creed. I don't do games. As in the same physical time for us here as humans meat sacks. God, that's food for thought there. That is food for thought. And just off the cuff here, I'm totally spitballing here, but if we could find some sort of quantum property where, you know, the same particle exists in two quantum entanglement, there we go. You know, if there's another correlation, because I think this is very much like, do you know the game Pelmanism? Normally you don't know the name, but it's the matching of things. There's a deck of cards with just random items on it, you know, candlestick, bathtub, shower, shovel, candlestick, and you go, oh, candlestick was there was a candlestick 4 cards back, and you've got to turn them over to match the pairs, like that. It's kind of like this. So Kate says something here in that frame, and you go, candlestick, right? We'll have a conversation, and then I'll be watching a documentary on quantum physics, and then the candlestick card will come over, and it's not an exact match. You know, they're not both saying literally the same thing, but there's enough of a match to go, does that principle apply over both? And there's a way of unifying it. I find life works like that in many, many ways there. So the more decks of cards you can get, and the more cards you can flip over, the more chances you have of piecing that puzzle together. Yeah. I was thinking of you, yeah. Nobody clears the inbox. It's like, no, you know, you've got to take time. You've got to have the work-life balance. We want healthy stuff. Yeah, bollocks, you do. Get somebody to cover for me when I'm on time off. Community crossover. Is this a crossover episode? Fragmented realities. Yeah. I think it's there. Peekaboo. How you doing, Agent X? And I'll bring back the OH piece. Oh, yeah. So much easier than trying to connect a laptop to projector. You know what? I never used them, but I remember them in school so much there. I wonder if there is a field of them sitting there. Do they still use them in schools? For our Patreons there. I could plug you in. You could take over the deep dives. It's fine. Actually, I quite like the deep dives. We'll figure out something for you. And Silver Fox there. Watched S4, the Bob Lazar story today. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I have been waiting for that for a long time. What did you guys think about the image they showed you where they said that they could see the doors? It felt... I'm not saying it's not the doors. I mean, you know, that is a pattern there. But it did feel... It didn't feel as much that it had been built up to me when they said that they'd got this evidence and the photos. Dinner is ready. Yeah, but you can multitask, Rosetta. And what is your problem with the structure? So here we go. Right. So, the craft is very interesting. All of Bob's story, very, very, very interesting. And I thought it all kind of added to the picture. But the main thing that I took from it was that... The main thing I took from it. So I used to geek out on bunkers, like a lot. I've visited a hell of a lot. I've looked at images and pictures and the designs, the plans, the stories behind all, you know, internationally different things. I'm a little bit of a geek on them, and therefore underground structures have always been something I'm a bit aware of. So for me, I have a big question that was the hangars for S4, and I could very much be wrong because I'm a passionate geek, but I'm not a structural engineer, but I have never seen such a large spatial area within solid rock that didn't either have support structures, big concrete columns, pillars, arches, or wasn't a sort of an arched ceiling where they work with the integrity of the rock and they create an arch out of rock. What we saw for the S4 hangars, which were solid rock above it over a very wide span there, was flat roof. And what they put in for the support structures was the same sort of light, I can't remember what they call it now, sort of a hex structure, which is, you see it in warehouses, and it's designed to support something that's not very heavy, but over vast distances. You don't have to have many supporting columns, you know, filling up your warehouse. You can kind of get away with it. So, and they had that in there, and that for me felt very much like somebody that doesn't know about engineering assuming what a warehouse roof would look like. So that, you know, it kind of like Is that an overstep? Is that because this is meant to be what Bob remembered. So if he remembered that, I'm pretty sure that isn't structurally sound. You know, I've not seen anybody do that one. I mean, you can look online, like, you know, the people that create hangars in mountains all of the time, and there's a very particular way of doing it, of working with the rock. You know, you can't break physics at the end of the day. Maybe there was part of the structure that wasn't shown. Maybe there was like a sub-roof and then there was arch above it. You know, that's always possible. Maybe a structural engineer can actually say that, no, that is possible with X, Y, or Z. But for me, I've not seen it like that. And it's those people you meet and feel like you've known them forever. I have had that feeling before, but I can't tell you who for now. It did fade there. But, and then again, probably never see them again. Kate literally just said, oh, I said, yeah. So, yeah, this is the you. You never even considered it could be that sort of thing. I wonder what that implies about the structure of it. Pay attention to energies, and they never lie. And energies is another interesting one there. And everyone wants to know everything, but not everyone wants to know themselves. Well, that's the hard bit, isn't it? It's this thing. It's always good. You know, if there's an external devil, the good and the bad. But the truth is, the good and bad is within us both, and we don't want to look at that. It can be very, very difficult. That old bedtime for Mayor. Night, Mayor. Thank you for joining us as always. We'll see you later in the week there. And yeah, you're wrong there. Solid rock like that had a reinforced silicon with artificial strengthening. I've not heard of that one before, but then we still drill rock when the CIA and Black Ops use high energy lasers. So I've heard about these deep underground military bases, and they use some sort of nuclear ability to melt the rock and stuff like that. My only thing with S4 is that I did hear that it, and again, this isn't necessarily, this wasn't from Bob, is that S4 was originally constructed as a biolab previously, and they retrofitted it from there. But I mean, even with modern bunker building there, though, they don't, not with silicon like that and artificial strengthening. They have to, what they'll do is that they can strengthen it, but they can pin it, but they can't just kind of create a flat surface. I've not seen that, and I could definitely be wrong. I'm not late up with all of the things, but I've never seen, because it's the letterbox. Those hangars were letterbox shaped. That is a lot of weight, that solid rock. A lot of weight to support over that distance. I can't get my head around that bit there. I'll have to look into it, but I've not heard of silicon ones like that. And it would be an energetic structure you'd need to prove it as the physical changes internally. Yeah, and I have no idea if it's ever been figured out, but I know that my guy told me what I said to you, and a following search around the internet backed it up. I think, look, we're all trying to, it's a black box mystery. It's like psychology. We can't physically open it up and 100% say what's going on, but we can say, look, it looks like this is going on, because if I do this happens 9 times out of 10. And I think this sort of stuff is very much like that. You can't open it up and then 100% say, but I'm probably getting quite close to it. That does fit. It was very, very interesting there. Where are we scrolling up there? Oh, is it lagging? It might have been us on this one. I did get a TikTok message there. Mel as well. Hello. Thank you for the heart there. How are you doing? I loved it. Yeah, we're all good. We're all good. We've gone off on a past lives side train tonight. How were you doing? How was your weekend there? And where are we? Oh, God, I've missed a few messages over on the tube. Sorry, guys. Let me come over to you now. If I could find my mouse. You can... Right, there you go. Where are we? Oh, God, so I missed quite a few over here. Sorry, guys. An issue I have with us in a sim is, are we real? Question mark. Is the body a shell file to hide the soul from itself? If not, are we NPCs? And if not, why would we make our sim question its reality? They are. there are questions of that. But I mean, if it is a real rendering of a simulation, you would think that that would involve the ability for the individuals to question itself. Because as soon as you start removing things from the reality, it becomes a less and less accurate simulation. So maybe there. And I have only had one unexplained sighting here in South Africa. This is Chris. Back in 2021, 2 boomerang-shaped objects and no sound at all. Very strange. Now, that is very, very strange there. Boomerangs as well happen, but they are quite rare and no sound. How high up do you think that they were? In relation to South Africa, we are... Oh, sorry, not South Africa. In relation to souls, we are each assigned 13 specific soul groups. Incarnation tickets. Souls incarnation cycles operate in large groups per cycle and gravitate towards each other when in 3D density. Okay, so why are they in groups? Is it just like a flow sort of thing? Our skinwalker uncovered ceramic fused to flora, and it was stronger than plates on the shuttle. And the approaches is... Oh, I've seen some of the drilling on it. I'm still not up to date on part of it there. Tick. So are we AI? I mean, then you get into the questions, don't you, of, well, is it artificial? You know, it might be, you know, are we the artificial ones? Are we just a biological computer? That is a big argument as well. Lots of people, you know, scientists will say, look, we're not computational, but it does seem that we are to some degree, definitely in a lot of the ways with it there. And Rio, no worries. We've been going down a very deep rabbit hole on past lives. They're building a structure under solid rock provides superior protection. Sprayed concrete is applied 100%. That's a good reason to do it. But you have to account for the weight of the rock above itself as well. You can do some bit, but you know, it's like mine shafts. They'll always collapse. Even if it's around solid, you'll still get the chunks falling in. Might not be the whole thing. So what they tend to do is they will curve out an arched roof, which will naturally support the weight. As you say, they'll spray concrete, but then they'll normally pin it into itself as well. That's the traditional construction mechanism for something like that. So then that way, the actual the shape of the rocks is pushing down and around rather than just flat down. So that was my thing. I've never seen a large open structure, even actually quite small structures. They'll do the arch roof to support the weight of the stone naturally. You can have a flat roof, but then you do have to have very big supports running across it. Yeah, we need some sort of AI gen. Yes, I think we're all good tonight, Rio. How about yourself? How's your weekend been? Been sunbathing, sunny Scotland? To roof and walls to prevent weathering. Hold small pieces in and seal the surfaces there. Yeah, so definitely the concrete is how it's done, but it's got to be rounded. It's got to be rounded for that. The weight supporting it. Or it will need a support. I don't know, there may be a structural engineer that can actually say that the weight over that span isn't enough to worry about. But, I mean, even when they're building underground air bases, so like traditional hangars for traditional fighter aircraft, you know, they're always arched. Too cold, raining and windy here. That is just Scottish summer. No, it's miserable today here as well. I was hoping for a skywatch. What is the weather looking like? See if it look. Oh god, miserable. But oh no, tomorrow. Right at the minute, tomorrow is clear. So hopefully, skywatch. Tuesday's looking crap. Wednesday's looking crap. Looks like we'll be gaming again this week, guys. Friday, don't be clear spells. Yeah, it'll be a gaming week, this one. Tonight, oh god, it's actually gone 11. I need to head off to bed tonight, guys, but free may go to Potter when some rock formations have huge open caverns, but that's natural ones, isn't it? And they're supported. They're never a flat edge, are they? I suppose there are some. Yeah, there are some. I don't think I've ever seen a man-made structure though with it, because you wouldn't know, would you, until nature would just collapse. But you do have. What are those Chinese ones? They're those Chinese. They're They dug them out, didn't they? They were ponds, and then they drained the ponds. It turned out they were man-made caverns, didn't they? And they're quite large, and I think they're flat-roofed. They do have support columns, so I don't think the span's quite as right. But, yeah. And also the other point would be that if it's just easier, because that's why it always is easier to do the arched roof, why didn't they just do that? Why would they spend the extra resources if there's no advantage to it? But, as I say, it might be something like there may have been that, but they just didn't model that because he didn't notice it. Or it may be that the span is enough there, but yeah. And Rio, missed you last night. Thank you, Rio. That's kind. I'm very snotty and feeling sorry for myself, but I'm fine. I'm fine there. But who's to say they haven't just scrapped in lasers, lasered them back? That Agent X, that is a fair point. You know, there are these. If we are talking about a place that is meant to be holding fucking UFOs. You know, they might have something else to build it with. They might have gone, actually, there's a purpose to doing these things. But it was just something for me that jumped out with it. That I was like, like that. And it felt like the sort of thing that people wouldn't also be concerned about with, so would normally slip there. So, sorry, Sam, and the gang, I'm shattered. It's the background noise. No worries, I'm going off anyway, so it's 11. But appreciate you as well there, Pluto. Good to have you in. That I'm going to wind up there. Can't fly for UFOs and you're trying to work out the maiden hang. That's me, though. I will get stubborn on this. I will hyper-focus on this. So I will report back when I have spoken to a structural engineer. The square clouds, tick. I'm going to see if I can open up your profile now, because otherwise I think I can do this now. I never used to be able to. Let's have a look. Is it going to load? Oh, it's bloody not loading. I'll see if it loads when I'm off the stream there. But thank you for the reminder there, Tick. All right, nice night, everybody. Night, Kate there. And thank you all for joining us. You're awesome, as always. Do appreciate you all. We should be on tomorrow night. Hopefully, it's going to be a skywatch. There, so we'll all catch you for that one there. But thank you for being awesome again there. Good to see you all, and we'll catch up tomorrow.